The rumor mill around the NFL is spinning faster than ever, and the Chicago Bears are right in the middle of it. Every few hours, a new name surfaces, a new potential trade target that could reshape the team. But one name, in particular, has grabbed everyone's attention: Myles Garrett. Yes, that Myles Garrett, the Browns' defensive monster, one of the best pass rushers in all of football. Recently, whispers have started floating around that there might be a world, even a small one, where Cleveland could actually move him. Not because they want to, but because the relationship between Garrett and the Browns seems tense. Some even say he looks miserable, like a man who signed a massive deal but no longer feels at home where he is. Let's be real, though, this isn't a simple make the call situation. Trading for Garrett would be an all-in gamble for Chicago. His contract is massive, with over $40 million in dead cap space the Browns would have to absorb just to make it happen. Financially, it's not impossible, but it's a mountain. And for the Bears, it would likely start with 2 first-round picks, maybe even more. That's a huge price. You'd basically be saying, "We're ready to win right now." And the truth is, as exciting as it sounds, Chicago just isn't in that place yet. Garrett would be incredible, probably the best player on the roster the second he walks through the door, but at this stage, it's not the kind of move that fixes everything. It's a luxury move for a team that's one piece away. Would it be fun? Absolutely. The thought of Garrett lining up alongside Montez Sweat is enough to make any Bears fan dream. But this isn't Madden, this is real life. And in real life, teams that trade multiple firsts for superstars need to be ready to compete for a Super Bowl right now. The Bears aren't quite there yet. If the front office really wants to make a move, someone like Trey Hendrickson from Cincinnati might make a lot more sense. A second or third round pick could get that done, and that's the kind of move that feels bold but still responsible. A pass rusher who can disrupt quarterbacks without blowing up the entire draft capital plan? That's how smart teams build long-term winners. But Garrett? That's a fantasy for now, one we can enjoy dreaming about, even if we know deep down it's not happening this season. Still, it's fun to think about, right? If you could bring in any player right now to make the Bears better, money aside, who would you pick? Think like a GM. Would you go big for Garrett, or swing smaller for a rising name like Jermaine Johnson? Let me know, because the trade window's ticking, and every idea counts. While trade rumors grab all the attention, the Bears are juggling some serious in-house questions. One of them revolves around Jaquan Brisker, who's been fighting to stay healthy and consistent this season. When he's on the field, you can feel his energy, the swagger, the fire, the voice that keeps the secondary alive. But it's also fair to ask, what does his future look like? An extension might make sense if he keeps performing, but the concussion history can't be ignored. Maybe something short-term, like 2 years for around $16 million, makes sense, with most of the guarantees up front. He's a valuable player, but not yet a cornerstone. That's where the Bears front office needs to be careful. Locking up solid starters while avoiding long, risky deals, that's the balance. And if another team comes in waving a bigger contract, maybe the Bears simply collect a compensatory pick and move on. Safety isn't the only spot under the microscope. The running back room has also turned into a puzzle. DeAndre Swift has been battling a nagging groin injury, and while he's been fighting through it, there's growing concern. If Chicago suddenly trades for another running back, it might be a sign that Swift's issue is more serious than the team's letting on. Maybe they're not just worried about Swift, maybe Roscoe Johnson's back injury has complicated things, too. That's where the idea of bringing in someone like Jerome Ford comes in, not a star, but a reliable, versatile back who can step in when needed. Sometimes it's not about swinging for the fences. It's about having depth when the injuries pile up. And speaking of stepping up, let's talk about the tight end situation. Fans keep asking, where are Loveland and Luther Burden? Why aren't they getting more targets? Well, Loveland is playing a lot. He's just doing the dirty work, blocking, setting the edge, helping in protection. But when they use him in the passing game, it works. That early bootleg play last week that went for 18 yards? Perfect example. They just need to do it more. As for Burden, it's been tougher. He's in the concussion protocol right now and might not even be active this week. But even before that, it was clear the coaching staff trusted Zach Hose more in terms of understanding the playbook. Caleb Williams seems comfortable throwing his way, and trust is everything in this offense. Still, Burden has the talent. And if Chicago's serious about developing its young core, those two need to be part of it down the stretch. The second half of the season should be their time to grow, to prove that they're not just projects, but building blocks. If you're the kind of fan who lives for these deep Bears breakdowns, trade rumors, rookie updates, injury reports, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next update. We post daily news, game previews, and live watch parties every week. Don't just follow the season, live it with us. So here's where things get interesting. The Bears are staring down the trade deadline, and the possibilities are endless. Some fans are calling for big swings. Others just want smart, steady moves. Let's explore both sides. First, the splash moves. Could Chicago pick up the phone for Quinnen Williams? It's tempting. The Jet star would instantly fortify the defensive interior, a spot the Bears could use more muscle in. But again, it's a matter of cost. Reports suggest the Jets wouldn't even listen unless a first-round pick is on the table. Is that worth it? Probably not right now. For a team still finding its identity, trading a first for a defensive tackle, even one as good as Williams, feels like skipping steps. What about Matt Judon? Now that's interesting. Judon's been linked to multiple teams, and if the Patriots are willing to take a pick swap, that could be a low-risk, high-reward move. Same goes for Jerome Ford or even Jalen Phillips, depending on availability. These are realistic, affordable names, not blockbusters, but meaningful upgrades. And then there's Chase Young, a player with as much talent as anyone, but a frustrating history of injuries and inconsistency. When he's healthy, he's a beast. But that's the problem. How often is he healthy? If Chicago believes in his recovery, his 3-year, $51 million deal is actually a bargain compared to what he can deliver. Still, the Bears need to be careful not to repeat history, buying high on injured players with short bursts of production. Young could be a star, or he could be a question mark that eats up cap space. It's a risk, and for now, the team seems more likely to wait and evaluate in the offseason. And speaking of the offseason, everything the Bears do right now points to a bigger plan. A slow, strategic build around Caleb Williams, building from the trenches out. That means next year's draft capital is gold, and burning it all for one player, no matter how talented, could derail that momentum. So, as the trade deadline approaches, expect the Bears to make phone calls, not headlines. Quiet moves. Smart moves. The kind of deals that set up future success instead of short-term noise. But here's a fun question to end on. What if the Bears beat the Bengals this weekend? What if they actually dominate, and suddenly everyone's talking about them as a wildcard sleeper? Would that be enough for the front office to push harder, maybe make one more bold trade? It's possible. Winning changes everything. Confidence, perception, urgency, all of it. Maybe then, a name like Matt Judon or Jerome Ford starts to feel less like a rumor and more like reality. Until then, fans can only watch, hope, and dream. Because this Bears team, for all its growing pains, still has something special brewing, something worth believing in. And as we head into another wild week of football, one thing's certain: whether they make a blockbuster deal or stand pat, this next stretch will reveal exactly who the Chicago Bears really are, a rebuilding project or a team on the verge of breaking through. So, Bears fans, your move. If you could make one trade before the deadline, what's your dream deal? Myles Garrett for 2 firsts? Matt Judon for a swap? Or a quiet, under-the-radar addition that changes everything? Drop your answer in the comments, because this week, every possibility feels just a little bit real.